Hello students, this is Dr. Witten and I am going to show you how to work out a correlation. So I have here the formula which always scares students whenever they see it the first time, so don't worry if that describes you. And then this is kind of how you might get data like on a test, for example. So it would just be a hypothetical situation. A professor is looking into the correlation between degree of depression and number of hours the person exercised in a week, and you need to determine what that correlation is. So we're going to do that now. We're just going to take it step by step. So here we have each participant. You can see there are 10, and then so participants 1 score on depression is 20, score on exercise is 1. I am going to upload these numbers like I did last time, so that you can see them. So okay, let's get started. So before we can plug numbers into this formula, we need to create 3 columns. Right, so the first column is going to square each value of x. So depression is our x value and exercise is our y value. So we're going to square each value of x. So let's get started. So 20 squared is 400, 10 squared is 100, 16 squared is 256, 19 squared is 361, 5 squared is 25, 8 squared is 64. I'm not really writing in linearly, but that's okay. 8 squared is 64, 14 squared is 196, 12 squared is 144, 10 squared is 100, and 3 squared is 9. Okay. Yay, we've got that first part done. So the next step, sorry about that, guys. Mechanical, technical difficulties here. All right, so the next step is to do the same thing for the y value. So we're going to square each y value in this column. So getting started with the first one. 1 squared is 1, and I'm going to add decimals just so that they all line up so that they're easy to see and add up. So 2 squared is 4. 0 squared, that's a 0, I promise. A 0 squared is 0. 0.5 squared is 0.25. 4 squared is 16. 2 squared is 4. 1.5 squared is 2.25. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. And 6 squared is 18. Done with that. So one last column, I'm going to change colors here, is our x times y column. So just like it sounds, we're going to multiply each value in our first column, our x column, by each value in our y column. So 20 times 1 is 20. 10 times 2 is also 20. 16 times 0 is 0. Where are we? 19 times 0.5 is 9.5. I should add decimals to these. 5 times 4 is 20. 8 times 2 is 16. 14 times 1.5 is 21. 12 times 2 is 24. 10 times 3 is 30. And 3 times 6 is 18. And so now we just need to add up each of our columns. Sorry, the stand is set up in an awkward place, so I'll try not to kick it again. Okay, so we're just going to add each column. So we're going to add up our x value. So it's just 20 plus 10 plus 16 plus 19 plus 5 plus 3 plus 14 plus 12 plus 10 plus 3, and we get 117. So same thing for our y's, 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0.5, etc. 22. All that adds up to 22. The x squared column, add up 400, 100 plus 256 plus 361, etc. 1655. Y squared column, 1 plus 4 plus 0 plus 0.25, and so on is 76.5. And finally, adding up our x times y column, 20 plus 0 plus 9.5, and so on is 178.5. So now we've kind of done the hard part, right? So, or, you know, kind of the long part, I guess. Now we just have to plug these numbers into this formula, which looks daunting, but once you just start plugging things in, it's actually very simple. So, we just start plugging in, and so our first thing is n here, which we know to be 10. Right? So 10, and then now this is the sum of our x times y column, so it's going to be 10 times 178.5 minus, and I meant to put that in purple here, kind of trying to help you see where all the numbers come from. So see, purple, 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 right? I don't know if that helps you, but all right, so 10 times 178.5. Now we're going to subtract the sum of our x column, which is 117, times the sum of our y column, which is 22. Right, so 17 and 22. Sorry, 117 times 22. This times this. Right, sorry, I said it wrong. All right. Then we're going to divide, and see how I have this square root in red? That is because a lot of students forget this step. It's a very easy step to forget. And usually, like if your number is crazy wrong or something's up, it's because someone forgot to take that square root. So don't forget that when you're doing your calculations. And so continuing on, we just plug in the numbers. N is 10. And this is the sum of our x squared column. So here, so 10 times 1655 minus, and this is the sum of our x column, which is 117 squared. And all of that is in brackets because we're going to do the exact same thing on the y side and multiply it together. So okay, so of course, n is 10. The sum of our y squared column is 76.5. Subtracting 22, the sum of our y column, and squaring that. Okay. So now we've plugged in our numbers. Now we just have to multiply it all out. So let's see. I was trying to look to see if I have another pretty color, but that's okay. So when we multiply 10 times 178.5, we get 1,785, of course. 117, that's a 5. 117 times 22 is 2,574 over square root. I have to keep the page pretty stable and makes my writing even worse. So sorry about that, guys. All right, 16, so 10 times 1655 is 16,550 minus 117 squared is 13,689. And we're gonna multiply 765, that's our 10 times 76.5, minus 22 squared is 484. Okay. And so as we keep going, start a new page here. So continuing on, we should have negative 789. Of course, this is a correlation, so the negative there in the numerator is very important. That means you have a negative correlation, so as one goes up, the other goes down. Right? Divide the square root of 2,861 times 281. So hopefully you see where I got that there. So 281 is 765 minus 484, whereas 2,861 is the 16,550 minus 13,689. Going on, negative 789 over the square root of 803,941. So that's just 2,000 blah 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 times 200 blah blah blah, right? So here, this times this is that. Working that out. This taking that square root is 896.63, and then just dividing that out, you will get negative 0.88. And that is our correlation. So R equals negative 0.88. I know, like, goodness gracious. This is why I need PowerPoint and not whiteboards. But okay, so hopefully you can sort of read my writing well enough to figure out what all of this gibberish means. Hopefully this has helped you in some way. If there is something else that I can do that will help you understand how to do these correlations and or anything else in the class, just send me an email or comment, and I will take that into consideration. Again, hopefully this helped, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.